Hey, everybody. Good morning. It is Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show. And hey, we're going to have some fun today because actually I got some of the coolest people to be interviewed today. I'm going to start my day off with someone who, I've gotten to kind of find out a little bit about because, we've been on a couple of calls because he, like me, is jumping from virtual event to a virtual event and helping. I love to have people on my show who help people. All right. That's exactly why. All right. And I love it because now I get to introduce you guys to this guy and I get to find out more about him myself. I don't know a lot about him. I'm going to learn and I'm going to find out, but I do know he's a cool dude because if he wasn't, all right, we wouldn't have been connected. So his name is Victor Vento. All right. And I got to know him through a couple different people. I found that like literally when I connected with him, I'm like, oh my gosh, we know so-and-so. We go know so-and-so. So this is going to be an interesting interview today. We're going to find out all about what he does and who he helps and maybe get some advice about what he's going to share with you about what you should be doing in this time. Anyway, we're 100 interviews, 30 days. All right. And we got another great guy coming on right now, Victor Vento. Victor, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You bet, man. I love it that, it's early in the morning. All right. And the first thing you do is jump on with a smile on your face.
Yeah. I get that a lot. Everyone's like, man, I love that you're always smiling. I was like, I got a lot to be grateful for. So,
yeah. Well, it's good to hear someone say they've got a lot to be grateful for because a lot of people right now are really down in the dumps about what's going on in their world.
Sure.
All right. And I'm sure that you have some bad things happening, but you just choose to say, I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's, I guess, to just really touch on that is here's my view on the world. Mm-hmm. I have two daughters, right? I have a 4-year-old and a 4-month-old. And I've always grown up. I never felt like an adult. I tell my daughter all the time when she's like, comes out of bed, she's like, I want to be a grown up. I'm like, Rhea, I'm not a grown up. I'm a big kid. I'm just bigger than you. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's my view on it, right? I view everything through that childlike lens. I'm very curious and everything like that. It allows me to be creative, be thankful, because children are not like, oh no, I fell. They're saying like, okay, cool, let's do that again. That hurt. Let's try a different way next time. So.
Yeah. And, and it's interesting because, I remember when I was a kid, oh yeah, I want to get to so-and-so. And now I'm like, man, I wished I would have enjoyed a few more times along the way. And now I'm like, wait a minute, I can start doing that now.
Yeah.
That was the biggest wake up call. I think it was in my 40s when I went, oh my gosh, I can start enjoying now. I don't have to wait for, you know what I mean? And yeah. I love it that you're teaching that to your kids.
Yeah. No, it's true. Like I just, like you just get older. That's the number goes up, but you could still look at life the same way. Like nothing truly changes. That's on you.
Yeah.
So for sure.
I have an actor friend who has a studio near me for teaching here in the Dallas area, and he's in movies and stuff. But he has taught me one of the coolest things in life. And he does this thing where he comes out and he goes, where I wish I was right now. And then he describes the very place he's in, but he starts like, so you're kind of like wondering where the place is. And then until you really like, oh, wait a minute. He wants to be right in front of me talking. And then he goes, oh, I'm here. Boy, isn't life great when you decide where you want to be and you're there. And your outlook is totally and 100% like, I wish I was in this moment right now.
Yeah.
Wow. That was like a huge.
that's definitely a big.
Yeah. Huge to me. So, Victor, let's find out what you do and who you help, man.
Sure.
I gotta find out this stuff, dude.
I know. So you mentioned earlier that we know a lot of the same people. It's funny how that works, right? We're all like making friends and making even new, better connections, especially now that we're just jumping, like you mentioned, virtual to really talk with people, get to know each other. It's I feel like we're all in like a classroom and we're like, hey, first day of class. But a lot of what I do is I work with coaches and consultants, really. We just help them scale through Facebook ads and chatbots, right? We do a lot of online. So right now, I'm probably in my most comfortable zone that you can talk about with everything happening, just because I'm like, oh, great. I don't really have to go anywhere. I could still continue doing what I've been doing, so that's a lot of how we do it. We have like a process that we take people through, but essentially in a nutshell, it's just, I help you create the cookie to give somebody, and then allow you to offer the milk afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a neat way to put it. I love that analogy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was taking notes from me. I'm going to start taking notes from you, Vic.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a fun story about it with my daughters. But yeah, like that's how I talk about like lead generation all the time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting, you know what I mean? Because, you know, that's what a lot of people right now need, in my opinion, they need to focus on right now is lead generation. All right. So many people are still trying to make hard sales online, and they don't know anybody to trying to make that hard sales. They don't understand. Now's lead building time. Really, like, yes, I'm going to make a sale or two through the lead building process, but that's my 100% focus right now is lead building. All right. What's your opinion on that right now?
Sure. So you said it right there, right? It is lead generation. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing that's going to happen. The world as we know it is over, right? It's never going to be the same again. Yeah. It's forced us to adapt, and it's forced us to continue to change for the better. Mm-hmm. For example, one of the biggest things, networking, right? In-person networking, we're all used to this just because it's the way it is. Mm-hmm. Shake your hand, and it's like, hey, what do you do? And that's the first question people start with. They don't care who you are, what your name is. They don't care about you. They're like, what do you do? Does it help me right now? If not, I'm going to start looking over your shoulder and looking for the next person that could help me get a step up. Mm-hmm. And that to me just feels wrong. That's not how that's not how children approach each other. They're like, hey, do you want to be friends? And they start talking and they start playing. And they like, that's how you get to know someone. That's that know, like, and trust that we all talk about online. Why don't we do that? Right? It's now forced us to do that. Mm-hmm. And so with lead generation right now, the old leaders that have grown through the way the world was in the past are either going to pivot and adjust and continue to be leaders, mm-hmm. or there's going to be new leaders that are focusing out and really doubling down on relationships right now, because relationships lead to business, right? Mm-hmm. Conversations start, that leads to relationships, and then that leads to more business. Mm-hmm. So those people who are doubling down on relationships and really focusing on serving and helping people and just providing value. And for most people, we hear that a lot, right? This whole provide value. The way I define that is action, like some type of insight that allows you to take an action. It's not just infobesity. It's just like you just consume information without acting on it, but it's something that you can actually do on your own, with or without me, and still get a result. Mm-hmm. So doing that, you're going to have the leaders of tomorrow pop up, the ones who are doubling down right now on that, to be seen, to be really everywhere, kind of like what you're doing, right? You're continuing to adjust yourself so that you can be an even better leader tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? Yeah. And you and I were talking off air before we came on air about, like, you know, the lists of stuff we have to do right now.
Yeah.
And we know, but we know, I mean, you know, this is not going to go on forever. We know that, you know, we have to double down. We have to, number one, we have to learn new things. All right. Yeah. And we have to be, you know, what is the word I want to, we have to be a sponge. You know what I mean? We have to start taking in, as well as we have to keep doing. You know what I mean? And even you, I mean, I thought it was interesting. It's like, as I'm going through the pre-show stuff, Victor's like writing his stuff down, right? He's over here like taking notes. And I'm like, whoa. And he goes, Tim, I study processes. So, I mean, how many people are you studying processes right now that you're going to be the leader for in 3 months from now?
Yeah, exactly. So you, for example, one of them, right? So a couple of things that you're doing on your show. I focus a lot on like the marketing, sales copy, and like that strategy. Yeah, but I also have a show myself, and that, you know, like, that's not my area of expertise. It's something that I do, and I've grown to do better and better as I do it more consistently. However, learning from people like you is great, because like there's certain things that you were doing before the show that I was like, I'm going to take that and make the experience for my guests even better. Yeah, right? Yeah. Again, I'm doubling down on those relationships. If I can make their experience even better, why wouldn't they want to come back? Why wouldn't they want to promote the show themselves? And, you know, like that's just how that works, because you want to help people that help you.
Mm-hmm. You know, and it's interesting. You know what I mean? One of the things I learned about doing my show was my first radio show or podcast that I ever did. I had Bob Berg on, and like, something technical went wrong. And I'm trying to fix that, and I missed a cue for like the, you know what I mean, to move on to the next question, right? And in my head, I still play it over as the biggest mistake I ever made on radio. Bob Berg said later on, when I had him on again, said he never knew it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm beating myself up over mistakes, but what that did is that now made me, prep for my show better. So that when things technical go wrong, all my notes are written for what I'm doing in the show. In other words, I'm not writing my notes and trying to take care of technical during the show. It helped me learn, right? How many mistakes have you made in the recent years or in the recent months going, man, I mean, it's like, oh, let me take that. This is how I'm going to fix it. So next time I don't do it that way.
Too many to count. So I think that's the trend for a lot of people that, a lot of successful entrepreneurs like yourself and myself. It's like, we're not afraid to make those mistakes because we know we learn from them. We're what's the lesson here? What happened so I don't do that again? There's this, I don't want to get too much into it, but like there's this like idea of like that we have to hustle and grind and make things perfect, which why? Like, again, going back to the way I view the world, like this childlike mentality, curiosity, play. The people who play the most are the most successful, because if you're not playing, you're like, oh, that didn't work. I didn't have fun with that. So let's make it even more fun next time. Let's make it even better next time. Then you're able to make progress and get momentum and really start rising. But if you're focused on like, oh, I messed up, and like as adults, when we transition into that, we start to really like beat ourselves up over the mistakes that we did. Like, I've had mistakes. I've lost a lot of money because of mistakes. I've made some bad investments myself, but I've learned from them. I don't make those types of decisions anymore.
Interesting. You know what I mean? And you talk about that, you know what I mean? You've made mistakes, you adjust, you know what I mean? It's like, but you talk about that, you know what I mean? I got to still remember the childhood mentality. All right.
Yeah.
I'm still playing. All right. I love that thought.
Yeah.
I want to go into it a little bit.
Sure. So like a good analogy to think about is like children, when they fall, when they learn to walk, when they learn to crawl, they don't stop after the first 2 times. They keep going until they get it.
Yeah.
But they're not thinking of like, oh, I messed up. They're just like, oh, well, that didn't work, and they keep moving. There's so much we can learn from just looking at what's already working.
Well, I mean, when you were a kid, I'm sure you fell down on your bike, right?
All the time.
There's a whole story with me and my mom, and sometimes I'll tell it later. But I mean, it's like I fell jumping off a ramp or something like that and sprained my ankle. My mom's like, just go outside and play. But I learned how to do things by that fall. I learned how to continue doing my work even though I was in pain.
Yeah.
And it's like, some people don't get that. And like my business, like, yeah, right now I'm doing some long days. I don't know. Are you doing long days through this thing? I mean,
yeah, it's pretty intense. Yeah.
Maybe, you know what I mean? With the play mentality. All right. And, you got 2 young girls. Just run us through some of the stuff of your day right now. All right. So maybe some of the listeners will get so I need to up my game during this time.
Sure. So, I mean, you're talking about like what my day-to-day looks like right now?
Yeah, well, yeah. What's your day-to-day right now? Because right now it's like it's changed a little bit, but we still want to be with the family. We have a lot more work to do because we're trying to build leads. So let's talk about your day. What do you go through on a day right now?
So this past month, I started a daily live show. Normally, my podcast is like something that happens 3 times a week, but we went to daily, and it was maybe a lot more than I could shoot. But I committed to it, so I'm like finishing through. However, the day-to-day right now, I wake up usually before all of this, it was like 4:30. Lately, it's been around 5:30. Just allow myself to sleep in. I don't have to go to the gym right now. So I wake up, I take care of myself. I do some. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Miracle Morning, but I kind of started doing that. And like take 6 minutes for myself, really just go through this 1 minute for each of these things, and then have some coffee, come back downstairs. And this is where I get started, right? I kind of start looking through what it is on my weekly, after our weekly meeting, what it is that I need to get done this week. And that's one of the most important things I focus on first in the morning. And then I transition into, okay, so now I'm going to check my social media, which a lot of people say like, oh, don't do that. I do it because like I live there. So I kind of have to, in the sense of like, I look at what's happening. I set a time limit for myself so I don't get locked in and stuck there, but at least that allows me to do some things. Then I go upstairs and have some breakfast with the girls, right? My wife had her 30th birthday yesterday, so I didn't do anything really yesterday. But I'm with my daughters, like we have breakfast, we eat, we talk, and then I come back downstairs and really get going again. That's kind of like my, if you were thinking of like a 9 to 5 type of mentality, if that's what you're looking at, that would be like my first break, I guess. But it's just the way it allows me to break up my day. So I'm not just, I don't get overwhelmed, or most people get, they get stuck in this like, oh, I've worked too much, and you start to lose your actual, what's the word I'm looking for? Productivity. So that allows me to like reset and then come back even better. And then I do that until about lunchtime. And then I go upstairs, have fun with the girls. I will go out to the backyard, jump on the trampoline, and, you know, then I'll come back and I'm like energized from all that like running around and everything like that. And then I kind of finish off my day. I have like calls with clients, calls with new people that want to work with us, and podcast interviews, like all this stuff that could happen, right? And then usually around 4, I wrap up the day, and then like I go upstairs and play with the girls, help make dinner, and we put them to bed, and we do our thing, and then it's wife and husband time, you know. So like that's in a nutshell. That's kind of like you've
got it pretty balanced out. You know, well, my wife and I, our kids are fully grown, but you know, our kids are about your age.
Okay, a little different there.
Yeah. But you know, right now she's going through some like intense stuff with the company she works for. So they're trying to do it. But like night times for us, it's like, you know, there's days that we're like, is it 5 o'clock yet? But you know, we habits, like, you know what I mean? I'm a night owl. She's a morning person. So she gets up hours before me, and I go to bed hours after her. I come back upstairs and do a little bit more work at night, and it's just like, you know, all my podcasts are set up the night before, like, you know what I mean. I set this up last night, the room, emailed every one of my attendees this week, but that's it. I mean, I've got a routine that works for me.
Yeah, exactly.
You got one that works for you. To the listeners out there, all right, they're looking to people like you and me for advice. What's your advice on them setting up a routine right now for them?
So as you heard, a lot of what I mentioned and really focused on was a lot of family time. That's one of the reasons I started this business to begin with several years ago. That's like our main thing. So we do take vacations for like 2 to 3 weeks out of the year at a time. Like we're gone for like two or 3 weeks usually. And you would think like, well, what happens? Like that's why I have a team. I've gotten to that point. That didn't start that way. So you really have to identify first what's most important to you. And then from there, again, people say it all the time, you know, like build their business around your life and not the other way around. So, I mean, I say that with a grain of salt, because initially when I started, I was the reverse of that. Yes, I wanted to prioritize family, but there was a season of my life where I needed to really double down and focus on the business and kind of give up a little bit of family time so that I could later on now have this freedom to do that. So I say that with a caveat, right? So like, make sure you understand what's important to you, and then you build it around that. And then do what you have to do to make sure that's sacred, right? So I end my day at 4 specifically for that reason. Like it's a hard stop. I tell clients, I tell like my team, they send me messages that they just know I won't respond really until the next morning. Yeah.
Well, you know, and I had one of my interviews that basically every email I sent to her said, listen, I check my email so many times. I mean, it was a response automatically to say that. do you have something like that where you basically go, okay, I shut off the emails at 4 o'clock, or like if you see an emergency come up, you can go handle it, or do you have a team member that handles, hey, Jake from State Farm, would you handle this?
Yeah. Hey, Jake from State Farm. Yeah. So that's a great question. I don't necessarily have something like that in place.
Yeah.
My VA kind of she has access to my email to kind of look at what's important and what's not. I use filters a lot.
Oh, okay.
So because being a marketer myself, I opt into a lot of things because I like to see how things work. Again, like that's just my view of the world. I like to play and I'm very curious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I like to see how people are creating this customer experience or this kind of customer journey, as we call it. And what I do with that is I create a lot of filters in my email that allow it to automatically send us to different folders so that I myself don't have to worry about it, or my VA doesn't have to necessarily worry about it, so that we're focused only on what's coming in that's important. Mm-hmm. So for example, I have, I'm sure you're like me and you have a lot of subscriptions that like software that you have, or like sends you the like, hey, you got charged, like thanks for renewing. Those things I don't necessarily need to see, but they do get filtered in a folder that my wife, who does a lot of the accounting in the business, she goes into and makes sure everything is correct there, but she knows where to look. So it's not having to like search through a ton of emails. It's just she goes to a specific folder. I don't even look at them because I don't need to be like paying attention to those because I have someone else that's able to do that. Yeah. So as long as I have systems in place to help me organize it, but I don't necessarily have like a routine there. Like I know people do, like I check my emails at 11 and at 2 or 4 or whatever. So
I wrote this down because I want to make sure I thought it. You talked about that. One of the things that's interesting, subscriptions, email subscriptions. You know what I mean? As a marketer, all right. How many people are, and you said you study them.
Yeah.
I'm curious how many of them, how many emails you think you sign up for, like, you know what I mean? Oh, I hear so-and-so's, in my same field. I want to see how he does it. So let me sign up under this email address that he may not know what it is. I mean, how many of them do you have?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like direct competitors, I don't normally opt into. I opt into people that are ahead of me or that are in a new industry that I'm like, I'm curious what they're doing here. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So like I have colleagues that I opt into, but I always use my actual email. I never tried to hide it. Yeah. Because I view it as a compliment. Some of them have opted into my stuff. Yeah. And I've seen that. I had a story of a colleague. This happened to her, actually. A direct competitor of hers opted into her email list, signed up for a strategy session, went through it, and then the next email that they got from them, like, unsubscribed and marked it as spam, which it's kind of like, come on, that's bad form. Yeah. But at the same time, like it's a compliment. Like you're obviously doing something that someone wants to mimic or copy. You have some success that they want to look at, like they want to see what you're doing. A lot of the times you have to keep it in context though, because I can opt into my mentor stuff and his audience is people like me. So I can't necessarily mimic that for my audience because I don't have the same type of audience. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like I do every now and then opt in to see what they're doing, what they're up to. Yeah.
I mean, I check out a lot. All right. Yeah. And like my mentors, all right, if they do something new, all right, I go in and sign up for something new just because I want to see I want to see how they work the process. Yeah. But I'm in their program. So like, normally it's not sent to me, it's sent to the new people who are in their program. But I want to learn it, just like you. But I don't know if I like the word competitors, all right? But like I've taught blogging and content creation for years, but yet I've paid like $197 for I can't tell you how many people's blogging programs. And I'm like, why do you do that? Because I want to learn what everybody else is doing and how they're doing it. It's not like, and I'm giving them the full price. I'm not going up, hey, Victor, you know what I mean? Can I get the link to try out what you're doing? No, I pay you the price and I learn from it. Not that I'm going to steal it, but I want to know what can I do better? And do you do the same? Is that what the sound
Yeah.
like you do the same? Yeah.
Yeah. So again, like I don't try to hide what I'm doing. Like if I opt into it, like I have he's not necessarily a direct competitor, but he's a friend of mine too. We're in the same city and everything like that. And he was actually a mentor of mine for a while. And he kind of pivoted before all this happened, to like a different audience. But I still, a lot of the stuff I learned from him, and I pay attention to how he crafts the experience for the end user, because that's kind of what I'm all about, right? It's if you can, again, that goes back to that cookie and milk analogy. If you walk up to a stranger and say like, "Hey, you want to put your hand in this box?" They're probably like, "I don't know you, and no, I don't. I don't know what's in there." If you walk up to someone, a stranger, and say like, "Hey, do you want a cookie? It's in this box." "Oh, sure, I'll grab one." Like it's a different experience, because now there's context and there's a little bit more. And then afterwards, you're like, "Hey, we're having some milk at this coffee shop right here. Do you want to join?" And there's your offer, and that kind of transitions. But that's you focus on that experience that makes it even better for the end user, and that's what creates results. That's what creates the conversions that people are talking about.
So, I mean, you sound, Victor, you're very knowledgeable in what you do. All right. Yeah. You're very disciplined, it sounds like. All right. Right now, I like to ask this question
Sure.
of a lot of people, and that is their, you know what I mean? Does this come back to like a mentor or something, or maybe something, a coach or teacher you had in school that like said something that like ingrained in everything you do?
That's a great question. Off the top of my head, I can't necessarily think about it.
Yeah.
Like that goes back that far. I would say when I first started, my mentor, and I'll tell you, he's Nicholas Kuzmich, is a Canadian like Facebook advertiser. He's like one of the top world's leading advertisers.
I heard his name, and I know I don't know him personally, but I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm personally mentored by him. I'm in his community and mastermind. So a lot of what I do falls under that same principle, right? He talks about congruence, contextual congruence a lot. And that's the form of which I look at everything as well, which resonates a lot with how I just look at the world in general. So that's why I tend to follow him and a lot of what he does. And I don't want to say like mimic what he does, but I create a similar experience for my audience.
I like that word. You create the experience for your audience. And I mean, and we were even talking about that as we were prepping for the show. You know what I mean? It's creating the experience for the guest. For me, I create the experience for my guest speakers at my event. You know what I mean? It's not just, let me create an experience for my customers, but let me create an experience from everyone who comes in contact with me.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Love it. Well, on that thing of, you know what I mean, you've worked with the mentors, all right? And you know, it's funny. I had Zig Ziglar's son on last week, and I said, okay, who in your past? Not your dad, though. His dad, though, I'm very good friends with him, and I knew his dad very well. But you, now, the tables are going to be turning in this, all right, with what's going on in the world. And there are people who are now going to be saying, my mentor, Victor.
Perhaps in the future, yeah. I foresee that for sure. I mean, like I'm doubling down on that relationship and really providing that content to people that probably never knew who I was. Again, it goes back to being famous to the families. A quote that I like that Seth Godin says all the time. Like I have a very specific audience that I like to be in front of. As new people move into this world, they'll start to understand and know who I am.
Yeah. So I love it. You know, and have you ever gotten, I mean, well, first of all, I mean, how many years have you been doing this, Victor?
Since 2015. So
about 5 years? Yeah, 5 years. Okay. So, you know, I mean, you're getting to be seasoned in the industry now. Have you gotten to the place where you know what I mean, you walk into a conference someplace, well, not right now, but when we, you know, Victor, you said that one line, all right, at a conference I was at in 2015, and I've never forgotten it. And you're like, I said what? Who? You know, have you had that happen? That experience happen?
Kind of. So the word I used earlier, infobesity. That's kind of been okay. People are like, oh, I like that, but you understand what it means. Like, I can't take credit for it. And my mentor said it first. I just fell in love with it, and I was like, this makes so much sense of how to use it.
Yeah.
But I use it all the time, and a lot of I've had experience where people come up and they're like, "Oh, you're the chatbot guy." Like, you know, I've had that happen, but not necessarily something I've said yet. But yeah, like I'm known for a specific purpose. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And that's what I was looking for, because, you know, again, 10 years I've been doing it, and I walk into a conference and like I was on a call like this and someone sent a question in and I answered. I'm like, I don't remember it. And they remind me of what I said. And I'm like, okay, you know, and it's unique because that usually shows, you know what I mean, that if you're known for something, it's because you're so busy helping people, you don't care about getting the credit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think you understand that. And I think you get it. You know, we get it that. There are some people out there who don't get that yet. They're like, you know what I mean? Well, I want to be known for blah, 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 blah. I just want to help people. You know what I mean? And I know, you know what I mean? I know what I help people with. I know the parameters I work in. So like, if it's a word of advice here or there, you give it. All right. Hoping sooner or later, they're going to need help with their chatbots and they're going to call you. Right. You know, it makes me think of myself, like during this time right now, there are a lot of people who are not thinking that way. They're just thinking about how can I get people into my funnel? Not, it takes me 2 seconds to answer this question. Let me answer it. What is your advice to those people who are right now, like they're still focused on the sale? They're not focused on getting the chat bot set up right, what is your advice to them?
So let me kind of bring myself back a couple of years when I was in a position like that, where I was like, because I feel like the mentality is the reason they are, just to dig a little deeper, the reason they're thinking that way is because they might be struggling at a certain point right now. I was there too. And it's no one likes the smell of desperate. It just doesn't come off as yourself. And it's hard to move yourself away from there. What got me over that and allowed me to start transitioning into like, you know what, I could help you whenever you're ready. And I like you to use that specific phrase, like whenever you're ready, I can help you in one of these 3 ways. I add that to every one of my emails, and that allows you to really help people who are fast lane people, who are medium lane and slower lane people that take 2 years to finally opt into your thing for the first time or something, right? But then you have like this whole funnel mentality of like, that's the first 30 days, the first 3 days, the first 7 days or whatever. To get over that mentality of like, I just need to get people in my funnel, put things out there that you know you've been able to overcome yourself, for others, for your clients, and that is going to attract the most ideal people to you. It doesn't seem like it right now, and it's going to feel like I'm just spinning my wheels and not doing anything because I've been there. Once you start to get that momentum going, you get that first person to start reaching out to you. That's how you start to become known for that specific thing.
I love it. I mean, it's just wise and great information. So, you know, the people who are listening, I mean, maybe we need to totally describe for them real quick, you know what I mean, the areas that you do help in, so that when they reach out to you, what is, let's define real quick what you do and how you help them.
Sure. So the biggest thing that we do is we run paid traffic for people on social media platforms, right? Like Facebook and Instagram. We do a lot of that. We also create a lot of the funnel systems that people understand of what a funnel is. We help create, again, everything congruent to that person. We take people through this process and like after about 2 weeks, they have this system set up. There's really 4 phases that we focus on. The first is the attract phase, because without anything, you're not attracting the right people, then nothing else happens. But that allows you to really focus in on how to attract those right people. And then the second phase is really how to engage those people, right? Because conversations lead to relationships, and then that leads to further business. So if you're not having a good conversation, if you're not like a conversation isn't a good one unless it leads to another one. So at least in my opinion, so that once you've attracted the right person, you have to engage them and have a conversation with them. And then you can elevate this person into whatever it is that works best for them right now. Because not everything, they might not be ready for you right now, but 30 days, 90 days, 6 months from now, they might be ready. Whoops, I think I lost you there. But then the last.
You didn't. You were just on a ball. I wanted them to see you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah. And then that last phase is really, that's when we focus on the conversion part, right? Because obviously a business isn't a business without converting on the back end here. But through that, you attract, you engage, you elevate and convert. That allows you to very ethically bring people in, start a conversation with them, move them into what it is they need help with right now. And then that leads into that conversion part so that you can serve, that feeds itself to serve more people and attract more people like that. So that's what we do for our clients.
I'm so glad you explained that out. So now we you know it. All right. You're listening and you want to connect with Victor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Victor, what is an area that they can actually reach out to you, connect with you? Maybe you got a free gift or something for them that they can
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So I got this bundle that I use. It's 3 main worksheets that people need if they've been forced online, or if really they don't have time to take what they've already been doing online and make it even better. These 3 worksheets in this bundle are completely free, but it allows you to, one, create, it's a worksheet that we use internally. All of them are. One is the ads checklist that allows us to create engaging posts. So you can use this for organic posts too, but we use it on the ads side of things. The second worksheet is your content mapping worksheet. And I think about it as like a journey, right? These milestones that people run into or overcome, and understanding what those 3 to 5 milestones are allows you to create organic content that allows people to like really resonate and attract and just start engaging with you. And then the third piece is obviously on that first front end attracting is our lead magnet worksheet, how to create that perfect client magnet. So that people aren't just consuming information and then saying like, oh, it's a 40-page ebook. How many of those have you downloaded that you've actually read, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like actionable. They can consume it in 3 to 5 minutes, and they can take action with it in the next 10 to 15 minutes and get a result.
And where can they get that at?
If you go to ventobot.com/bundle, it's all right on screen there. That'll you'll be able to get it, all 3 of those worksheets completely free, and that'll get you started. I don't suggest using all of them right away. Choose one that's working for you. If you need that magnet, if you have it, don't worry about it. You have it for later use. If you are going the organic route, perfect. Use that organic mapping content. If you are running ads, then use that checklist for how to set up your ads the right way so that you can actually create engaging posts and get the click through and get the money worth that you're spending on advertising.
Cool. Well, I mean, Victor, I love having you on here today. It's been fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I love being on here.
It's been knowledgeable. Trust me. I think I got 1.5 pages of notes from you. We all learn, right? Yeah. We all learn. We all keep studying. So, Victor, I want to close my show out, but I have this game I play with people. Have you heard about my game?
I have not. So you touched on it earlier, but I definitely haven't fully explained. Yeah.
So here's the deal. I learned this from watching Sammy Hagar on TV. You know, I'm cooler than Sammy Hagar, at least in my mind, anyway. But I've seen it, and I'm like, I like this idea. It's a game called This or That. I give you about 9 questions. There are 2 different choices, and you just pick one.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm game for it. Let's do it.
So let's start off with my favorite one I like to ask to find out who's the geeks in my audience and who aren't. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah. Like the pre-Disney, the good stuff, right?
Yeah. The episodes 4, 5, and 6. Yeah.
How about right now? If you hopped in your car, are you going to listen to a podcast or music?
Music.
Music? Yeah. What kind of music you listen to, man?
I listen to a lot of trance music.
Oh wow! Yeah, cool.
Like very uplifting and soulful. So.
And it's funny how different music inspires different people.
Yeah.
That's cool because there's no right answer. It's only the right answer for you. So in the morning, do you have coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee? Like coffee or espresso or Starbucks drink, you know?
Just coffee. We buy this from this local coffee shop, these grounds, or we go to Sprouts and ground them ourselves.
Okay.
But we usually get stuff like that. We have this Keurig that we put it in here.
Yeah, Glenn has some coffee maker, but like I get up and go to Starbucks every morning, and like I literally ran down there through the drive-through because you can't anything else right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, my next one here is the going to the movies. Do you have popcorn or candy?
That's a good question. I don't know. I would say popcorn just because we do it a lot at home too.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
It's like I said, some of these like they're related. Somebody's like, well, I don't know.
Like, yeah, I haven't done that. I haven't gotten candy in a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going out for a quick bite to eat, is it a taco or a hamburger?
Oh, see, that depends where I'm going. I usually opt for a hamburger.
Okay.
Yeah.
My people, hamburger. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
No, I know where you live, but this one here may relate, but it may relate to the I like vacation, but beach or mountains.
Oh man, see, before 2015, that's when we moved to Colorado. I would say beach because I'm from California, but I'm never leaving the mountains. This is the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Do you live in a major city there, or you live kind of off the country a little bit?
We live in Colorado Springs, so
okay.
It's still a pretty big city, but it's not crowded like Denver.
Yeah. But you wake up to the view of the mountains.
Oh every day. I can see them. They're the closest they've ever been.
Yeah. So my next one here is kind of a personal preference. Do you believe that pineapple belongs on pizza? Yes or no?
Absolutely. Pineapple and pepperoni. That's my jam.
See that one there? People are still going, wait, no. Like, yep, that's it.
So,
pineapple and pepperoni, baby.
Here's the thing. When I met my wife, there's a whole story behind that, but I found out she was allergic to pineapple. So for the longest time, I did not eat any pineapple. So when we ordered pizza, I didn't do it. I would say last year, she was like, you know what? It's been a long time. I'm going to try it. And she was like, she was okay. So then she had like a half bowl of it the next day with like some cottage cheese. And she was like, I'm still okay. So then I was like, oh my God, we can have pineapple again. And then ever since then, it's been fantastic. Pineapples in the smoothies and everything.
That's one of those things that the people who are against it are against it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah.
So my next one here is the one that creates wars. All right, and that is toilet paper. Does it go over or under?
Oh my God. I have a funny story. There's one day my wife was like putting it on and she was like, which way does it go again? And I was like, the way that's not dumb. She started laughing and she was like, which way is that? And I personally don't care, truthfully, but I think I've always just had it over.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter to me really. Now that we have kids, I prefer under because if they were to play with it, it doesn't go and it doesn't like unravel.
Yeah.
So,
but it's funny. It's like I've had people on the show who are like the calmest people until I ask that question. All of a sudden, they're fired up.
Yeah. It's a funny. Yeah. That's a funny question.
My last one can be a little bit personal, but I ask it anyway, and that is boxers or briefs.
Boxers or briefs. So, is there an in between? Because definitely boxer briefs. Like, I used to only buy boxers when I was younger because they were there.
Yeah.
But like, there's not enough. I don't know. Like,
there's not enough support. I don't. Yeah,
not
but
enough support. How do I say
this?
A
thing.
But yeah, there's not enough support. Briefs are too tight. So boxer briefs are like just the right amount.
Yeah. But boxer briefs have become a thing over the last couple of years. So yeah. So as you see, it's not that hard of a contest or a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, Victor, I thank you very much for coming on the show today. One more time,
Thank you.
tell them your website so that they can hear it on the audio as well as see it. So
Sure. So if you go to ventobot.com/bundle, you get those 3 worksheets that I talked about. The perfect client magnet, the content mapping, or the ads checklist to create engaging ad posts or organic posts.
Cool. Well, guys, all right. Thank you for coming to the show. Thank you, Victor, for joining us. This is another episode of the Tim Gillette Show, here and gone, ladies and gentlemen. Get to know Victor. Go check him out on his website, all right, and see why maybe you want to have him on your podcast. He's just a cool guy who's got some great information. We'll have another guest coming up real soon, all right, with some great information. Be sure to subscribe over on Apple Podcasts, our YouTube channel, as well as Anchor FM. I'm Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, and we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.
Later.